G'day guys, it's Dave here from Old Rigs Down Under. Welcome to the latest video. Here we are, another weekend, another retrieval mission. Heading a couple of hours north of here today, and we're going to pick up an old F model Mack that's a little bit of a different specimen. It's got a bit of a different power plant underneath it, so a fairly unique truck here in Australia. So don't need as much gear today. I think the tyres on this one look alright, and yeah, it's at a property where they've got a bit of like quite a bit of equipment on hand where we can load it up, and so hopefully it's not too much of a drama. Anyway, just going to pack a few little things up here and make them on. Alrighty, last little walk around. Chains and straps are tight, toolboxes are closed, spare tyre on board, the toolbox up the top with a couple of goodies in it. V8 bobbing away. Let's get into it. Might give that windscreen a bit of a wash in town when we fuel up, I think. Good thing about old trucks, every time you get in them, there's another rattle. Always keeps you guessing. Bit of extra fuel on board, a little bit of tucker. Let's get stuck into it, eh? Well, here we are at the end of the bitumen. Just about to drive into the property here where the old Mack is. Good old cab overs, you feel every pump, that's for sure. That's why we love them. Sounds like that bloody front cadmium wants a bit of grease on this thing. Anyway, yeah, pretty original old property here. Got some very cool stuff around. Try and stay focused on the job at hand today. There's a lot of stuff here, but anyway. Yeah, the old Mack will be up here on the left of the gravel pit. Sustained a little bit of damage a while ago. Tipping a load of gravel off, and one of the tray pivots broke on it. The sort of tray fell off it and sort of twisted it up a bit. So yeah, certainly it's not without its problems, but anyway, you'll see that shortly. Anyway, we'll get up here. It looks like he's already got a crane up there, so hopefully we'll be in good shape. Okay guys, it's pretty windy here at the moment, very hard to take a video. This tray's being supported by the crane at the moment, but you can see where it broke that back left pivot and sort of bent the strong back. It's given the chassis a bit of a twist, so you can see here there's a bit of a twist in it. So yeah, it'll need a bit of work, but yeah, it's a factory fitted 1971 model. I reckon about probably May or June of July or thereabouts of 1971. So very unique truck, very early fiberglass cab. I'll give you a bit more of a rundown on that soon. But yeah, just for the time being, just going to lower this tray down. We've cut the hoist off because the hoist was buggered anyway. And we're just going to probably, once it's down, we might throw a strap over it, tie that toolbox up there, and push it onto the truck. The lengths you go to go and pick up an old Mack, eh? We've got the truck picked up but it was so windy out here that we just really struggled to get much decent footage without a hell of a lot of wind noise. So took a series of photos and we got the thing loaded fairly easily. We just pushed it on with a telehandler. So we're just going to sneak out now to a vintage show, a harvest display and tractor pull. Have a look out there and then get home a bit later today. But yeah, just this road's full of corrugations at the moment. Not a whole lot of fun. The old plastic cab over, she's got more rattles than a millionaire's baby. Anyway, just take it nice and steady till we get down to the bitumen road. If you look in the distance over there, that's a bit hard to bloody tell while I'm shaking like a dog shitting razor blades, but it's, yeah, we'll zoom out, that's the hard leather tin mine over there. So some of you might be familiar with that. But anyway, yeah, mission accomplished. Well, accomplished in terms of getting the thing on the trailer, and we'll get it home and probably do a will it start video at home, or might even incorporate that. So anyway, I'll keep on bouncing along here and leave you guys to it for a while. So here's a couple of photos that I took in the process before we started loading, of just lowering that hoist down so we could transport it. As you can see, there's quite a twist in the front of that, and was pretty lucky to have a Franna crane on hand there to lower it down. We ended up taking that toolbox off. That was the best idea, but the tray came back down, sat down okay, and got it loaded up and went down to the Talimba Vintage Harvest Day. Bit of a pity we couldn't get any footage of it going up on the trailer, but it was pretty straightforward. I just got pushed up with the telehandler and it was done. Well, I managed to get the F model unloaded, but it was a bit difficult. A bit more difficult than the other 8-wheeler. I really would have liked to have been facing the other way with the truck, but I just felt like I might be hemmed in and not be able to get out easily. And there was a fair lean about where the truck is, it falls back this way. So anyway, I decided just to do it that way, take it fairly steadily. The brakes were dragging on the truck, so I used that to my advantage. I couldn't get the ring feeder to go up high enough. That pin, I did manage to free it up, but I couldn't get the tongue in there. So I just chained it either side. It worked okay, but because the brake was locked on this side and it was falling a bit this way, it just kept on wanting to come this way. So in the end, I just got you can see the tracks there where the drives come off, and it's down on the inside wheel, but I kept these front ones fairly well straight until about the last couple of feet. Then I just let it do its own thing. So yeah, certainly not ideal, but anyway, like I say, the brakes dragging helped me, and I knew once I got the tractor on the flat I'd be fairly right. But there's a bit of weight in this one, there's still a little bit of dirt in the back. There's a tray on it, it's probably a little bit heavier than the 8-wheeler, not much. But yeah, just facing downhill wasn't ideal. But anyway, job still done. No one injured, nothing damaged. It's got to use the drop deck for a job tomorrow, so I had to free that up. But anyway, it's good to have the thing unloaded. Next step will be getting the cab tilted up and having a walk around and check over and see if we can get the thing to fire up. Righto, here we are with the 1971 FR700, as explained a little bit earlier in the video. Couldn't get a lot of footage whilst loading. It was a horrible windy day and we just wanted to get out of the wind as quickly as we could, so we got it loaded up, and as you saw in the video a little bit earlier, got it unloaded in a fashion. So it's a fiberglass cab. You can tell that it's a fiberglass cab, an Australian built fiberglass cab, because it doesn't have a gutter up there, right? Now it's just got a little riveted on gutter rail above the door, and you can actually see up the top there as well. There's no pressing and no gutter like the steel cabs have got. These indicators, whilst not unique to the fiberglass cab, were pretty common with the early fiberglass cabs. I have seen them on some of the steel ones too. Another giveaway, being an early truck, 4 headlights will tell you it's a fiberglass cab. Now, they were an option, I've mentioned that before in a video. They were an option on the steel cabs in the early trucks, but very uncommon. That's in Australia anyway, I'm not so sure about the US. What else can we see here at the front? Okay, you can tell it's an early fiberglass cab because the windscreen wipers are mounted here. That's exactly where they'd be on a steel cab. If we just take a quick look over here at a 1975 fiberglass cab, see the windscreen wipers are mounted through the front. So that's another way you can tell. But with these early cabs, perhaps the first year or so, they came out on the bulge in front of the windscreen there. So on this one, got an air intake through the cabin. I know that sounds a bit odd, but they actually used to go through the cab and into the air cleaner like that. So that was the thing unique to the fiberglass cabs. Now, it looks to have a fairly original bumper bar on it. It's been pulled out with a chain or something at some point. This truck hasn't got torsion bars on the front of it. It's had a cab jack fitted, and it looks like the cab jack's been there for a long time, possibly original. No Mack lettering in the usual location. M-A-C-K, nothing there. The company that this went to in Western Australia from new, which was Bell Brothers, they quite often had Bell Brothers written across there, so they took the letters off them. And some of the steel cabs that didn't have that mesh on there, they used to put the Mack lettering up there. It's just another little feature that you see on some of the WA trucks. So the cab's not in bad nick. If we do go back a little bit further, it's a bit hard to tell, but it's got a bit of a twist in it. It had a bit of an accident, like I pointed out earlier in the video. But otherwise, it's not in bad condition. The chassis might come back straight again. But anyway, the main unique feature about this truck is the power plant. Detroit diesel, 8V71N. So, from what we can work out, it's an original fitment. Now, it wasn't destined to always have an 8V71. What we can work out is that the Mack V8, the turbo V8, was being trialled in Australia in about May 1971. But there were no others out here at that point. There was only the one or two on trial. And Bell Brothers, these guys, they were red and white. You can still see the red paint there, red on the chassis. They were a big customer, and we believe they were waiting for a V8 Mack. And they couldn't wait any longer because they needed the horsepower for the weight laws over in WA. And so they requested an 871 to be fitted into an F model. Now, they already had a couple of R700s, the long bonnet R models, with 871s. So, don't really know if that happened over at Moore Road Machinery, which was the dealer in WA at the time, or whether it happened at the Rockley production facility in West Brisbane. I'm inclined to think that it probably was in WA. And we believe this was the prototype truck because the chassis number on this is 1259, and then the first of the GM designated vehicles was 1260. So we reckon this one was taken as a prototype and plucked out of the list of chassis kits, and whilst it was destined to have a V8 Mack engine, we don't reckon it ever got fitted. Anyway, that's the theory that we're working on, and we're always open to being proven wrong, but at this stage, that's the best we've been able to do, and it's the most plausible. so that's what we're going to stick with. So we're going to call it the prototype. But yeah, 871, looks like a 13-speed Road Ranger. Originally it was probably a little bit shorter than this, didn't have a tray on it, it was a prime mover. The bunk window's been in it from new, maybe a Bell Brothers edition rather than a Mack dealer edition. But yeah, otherwise it's not a bad truck. Was working up until it had its accident. You can see it under there, that strongback's bent right over. And you can see the pivot broken off the back there. So that's what's caused all the damage and dipped the back of this chassis. So hopefully, with a bit of creative work, we can get the thing back to being semi-straight again. So we'll probably, the idea at this stage is to probably take this tray off and put it on the 8-wheeler here next door and shorten this thing back up into a little bit of a prime mover wheelbase. And in doing so, it might, you know, get some of the kick out of the back of the chassis. But here's the cab jack. Now it's a fairly generic cab jack, a lot of these American trucks had that, but that's actually on a tank bracket off an R model at the time. So there's a good chance it's been there a long time. Yeah. These early fiberglass cabs had a vertical grab rail like that. If you go over to this one here, it's got a one-piece unitised step and grab rail. And that's what most of the fiberglass cabs were fitted with eventually. But if you see one with that vertical handle, you know it's an early one. So a little bit of an ugly sort of a step there. And they've put a truck brake drum on there as a bit of a step. You know, I'll try and get up here without having a conniption. Be easier said than done, I think. So you can see the business down there. So yeah, another one of these early fiberglass cabs with the alternative dash. Now someone's given it a lovely coat of this green at some point. It's not the original colour. Sort of see a bit of original green there. A little bit on the floor. But yeah, so I reckon 13 speed. Don't know an awful lot about these early ones, but I'm going to run with that it's a 13. But it's fairly tidy inside. I don't like the colour, but it'll clean up okay. So yeah, it's a pretty unique truck, this one. So we're not going to get it going in today's video. I just wanted to follow up on the retrieval. And in a little while, you know, a few weeks' time or a month's time, we might try and fire it up. But the VDO gauges, that was a bit of a feature on these Australian cabs. They're just going for Australian content. So yeah, they started to use different gauges. Quite often they had different roof lights on them as well. Went away from the originals and just had Australian content. So, but yeah, very interesting, this one. So looking forward to giving it a bit of a clean up and getting it running again. I'm only the third owner of this truck. The guys who had it before, that I bought it from, they had it for over 40 years. We're not sure if it had any owners between when it was new and when those guys bought it, like other than Bell Brothers. Because where it came from in Sydney from the machinery dealer, Peter Whelan was his name. He used to buy a lot of stuff from Bell Brothers. He used to buy Mack gear and cat gear and resell it on the East Coast. And it makes sense that it's probably gone from Bell Brothers straight to Peter Whelan. And then it was bought by a family at Ardlethan. And
like I say, they've had it for close to 40 years. So anyway, it's a bit of a pity it had its accident. It was still working up until that point. When it's come down, the tray bodies hit the cab and just put a bit of a scar on it. Oh, I can't quite see it there. Just there. But that's about the worst of it. So the hoist is buggered. And so the tray will come off, and then we'll get the cab up in the air and have a bit of a look at it from that point. But anyway, this was more about just trying to give you a bit of a look at it, point out some of the differences, give you the story behind the 871, and hopefully you can get something out of it. Feel free to ask questions, and yeah, hopefully, like I say, before too long, we'll be able to get this cab tilted up, and we'll check the racks on the GM and make sure the emergency stop works and all those things. Get some batteries hooked up and see if we can fire it up. It was running okay. The truck didn't tip over when it had the accident, so the tray fell over, and then the truck recoiled back and whiplashed, and so it's probably had a little bit of a flex, but yeah, it hasn't run over and hasn't tipped over and run on or anything like that. So anyway, look forward to bringing a little bit more to you at a later date, but here's just a preview, guys. Anyway, hope you enjoy it. Thanks very much for watching the video. Let me know if you'd like to see more of these walkarounds. Like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Tell your mates about it, and let's keep growing this thing. See you on the next one.